Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things through a common sense lens. And I have been a fan of the Highlander franchise since I was a kid, right? Those movies came out back in the day when I was growing up, and I just absolutely loved them. I remember renting them from Blockbuster and really enjoyed all of those movies. And even though a lot of people have issues with the second one and stuff like that, I was just a kid at the time. I absolutely loved them, and you know what? They were a blast. The series with Adrian Paul was absolutely wonderful. I got to meet Adrian Paul at one of the cons in the past. He's a really nice guy. The show was great. Even the spinoff Raven wasn't bad. The cartoon, which was kind of based on the second movie, which was kind of off the rails and kind of wild, I really enjoyed as a kid too. So I absolutely love the Highlander universe. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, as it always happens whenever somebody decides to dip into an established IP in the modern era during Hollywood, a lot of us are very frightened. A lot of us are very cautious about anything they do. But ladies and gentlemen, when it comes from one of the guys behind John Wick and then is starring our beloved fellow nerd Henry Cavill himself, well, ladies and gentlemen, this little common nerd can't help but see his heart putter just a little bit as my hopes start to rise and thinking that this might actually be another good entry to the series, because this is not a reboot, this is not an adaptation, this is simply another story set in the Highlander universe, and I, for one, am all here for it. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very exciting update, because now we know when the film might actually start filming. And the other exciting part about this is, considering when it is starting to film, we could potentially see a release date as soon as 2026, ladies and gentlemen. And I, for one, am very excited, because as you can see over here from the headline at cosmicbook.news, it's official. Henry Cavill starts filming Highlander in September. And we have this right from the horse's mouth himself, where he was at the premiere for Ballerina, our dear sweet Chad Stahelski. So we're going to get into all of the juicy details, listen to exactly what he said, go over all of the information that we currently have on this movie as well, for all of you out there that may have not been aware that this thing was even coming. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2K. We are on our way to 2,100, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Do you think this will actually be good, considering the people that are behind it and involved with the project? Or are you just rolling your eyes at another, what is it, allegedly a Hollywood reboot or a remaster or something going back into an IP that we knew and loved? Is the idea of Henry Cavill and, of course, the guys from John Wick behind this actually give you a little bit more hope and some cautious optimism? Or do you think this thing will just end up being an absolute abysmal failure? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member and check out the link in the description down below. We certainly would appreciate it. All right, from cosmicbook.news and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. There can be only one. Let it be Henry Cavill of the Clan Cavill. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't we? I mean, look at that fan art. That's just wonderful. And am I the only one that hears Princes of the Universe? Am I the only one whose mind automatically has Princes of the Universe jump right into it whenever we say, like, I can't sing, so I won't torture you guys with my rendition of Queen's absolutely epic soundtrack, epic anthem for these movies and for this universe. But I mean, come on. That just screams Princes of the Universe, right? Just, come on, lightning in the background and everything. Director Chad Stahelski gives an update on the Henry Cavill Highlander movie while at the red carpet premiere for From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. The flick will be a reboot of the pop. It's not a reboot. Stahelski already said, and I know everybody keeps throwing that word around, but it's not a reboot, right? It's another story. Stahelski has already said this. It's a story set in the same universe. He's not going to be playing Duncan MacLeod or Connor MacLeod or any of that kind of stuff. That's not who he is. He's going to be his own unique character in the universe. The flick will be not a reboot, but another story of the popular 80s movie starring Christopher Lambert and the epic 90s TV series starring Adrian Paul, which apparently you can watch on Tubi for free right now, which is really nice. Given the first season takes a little bit of getting into, but trust me, it gains its stride as it goes on. You'll really enjoy it if you haven't seen it. So Stahelski has asked for an update. So he says Henry Cavill will be great. The interviewer mentions that he's so excited to see that. Let's just watch the video. Let's just watch the video right here. Let's just check it out right here from Deadline, on it right here. Check this out, right from the horse's mouth himself.
Highlander. People are very excited to see Henry Cavill. Highlander. People are very excited to see Henry Cavill step into the role. What can you say about where you are in the process with that?
Yeah, there can be only one, I guess, right? No, we're in active prep right now. We plan to be shooting by mid-September and starting off.
There you go. Mid-September. We will get leaks. I can't wait. I can't wait for the set leaks. I can't wait because I swear they're so bad in London. They're the worst in London. They're always so bad out there. But I can't wait for the set leaks. I can't wait to see Henry Cavill as a Highlander. Are they going to give him the long hair? Are they going to give him a short haircut? What are they going to do? I'm fascinated to see what is happening. But we're literally getting filming starting in September. So this is why I said we could potentially see a release date for this movie in 2026, right? Because it's an action movie, right? At the end of the day, it's a little bit of fantasy action movie is essentially what it is. So like how much action post work do you really need to do outside of like the regular editing and stuff like that? Like unless you do something crazy, this isn't a movie that requires a lot of CGI or anything like that. So like unless you guys are going to decide to go completely and totally crazy, I can imagine the editing process and the finalization of getting the whole movie together would take very long. Probably not more than 3 to 6 months if we're going to be completely and totally honest concerning what we've seen out of the rest of the Hollywood. So that's what I'm saying. We could potentially see a premiere of this movie in 2026, probably more likely spring of 2027. But needless to say, I would love to see that. I mean, imagine if they got it ready by summer of 2026. Imagine it only takes them like 2 or 3 months to shoot this entire movie, right? You spend all of winter editing it and getting it ready for spring, summer next year. That would be awesome. I would love to see it. And I always love seeing Henry Cavill get more work. That is always so wonderful. He's a great guy. He's a fan of fans. He's a nerd. He's one of us. I want to see him succeed. He gets getting stuck with these crappy roles and these really bad writers and stuff like that just want to completely and totally destroy and devastate characters that he knows and loves. I mean, we saw what happened with Witcher, right? We heard the stories. We reported on the stories of Witcher behind the scenes about Henry Cavill having issues and pushing back against the stuff they were going to do. Obviously, we know he's not going to be there for the 3rd season. So it's one of them situations where I really do hope this ends up being true to the source material and you give us a good Highlander story because that's all I really want. All I really want. Some boobies in the movie just because that's what all Highlander movies should have. And, having a nice relationship, a good bang, and, cut some people's heads off. It's not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. The formula for a successful Highlander movie is really, really not rocket science in any way, shape, or form. And you know what? Chad's got the chops with all his John Wick stuff behind him to pull this off. I think he can pull this off and make this a really great action movie. So let's see what happens.
Starting off in London. Yeah.
Yay, well, we can't wait to see
I hope it's good.
I'm sure it will be. Highlander.
And I like the fact that he's honest. He's like, I hope it's good. And trust me, we all hope it's good too. And the best part about that is he's going into it he's not going into it cocky. Right? He's not going into it with his ego. He's not going into it with his narcissism going, we're going to make the best Highlander movie ever. And it's going to be better than everything you've ever seen before. He's just like, I hope it's good. I hope it works out well. And that's the kind of humbleness we need out of Hollywood, right? Is that kind of stuff. So I love that. I really am excited for this movie. I think this could end up being really, really well. And if it revitalizes the Highlander franchise and gives us a whole new entry and a whole new character to follow inside of that universe, I am all here for it, boys and girls. Henry Cavill as a Highlander. Pump it into my veins. Pump it into my veins, boys and girls. So let's get back to the article. Let's see what else we've got here as well. So not much is really actually known about the Highlander movie, but production recently moved to Amazon Studios. It's thought that Henry Cavill will be playing Connor McLeod, but other than Henry, the cast hasn't been officially announced. See, and I don't know where Cosmic Book News is getting this stuff because the last we'd heard from the guys involved in this project was it was supposed to be a completely new character. It wasn't supposed to be Connor McLeod. He's not supposed to be playing that kind of stuff. But maybe things have changed behind the scenes, and maybe I just happened to miss it in the news. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm completely and totally wrong. If you guys know of more information out there, please let me know in the comment section down below. But last I heard, it's supposed to be a original Highlander story in this universe. So we'll see what happens. No other actors are even rumored for roles, which if it follows the original will include Ramirez, who's played by Sean Connery, and Kurgan, played by Clancy Brown. Chad Stahelski previously talked up his Highlander movie, offering it will be a big action film, and also said he will be using the original Queen music, which is a must. Yes, Princes of the Universe has to be part of any Highlander movie you do. Like, it just has to be. You cannot have Highlander without Princes of the Universe. It's just not going to work. He says, we're bringing it forward from the early 1500s into the highlands to the beyond present day New York and Hong Kong and see how it goes. There's a big opportunity for action. There's a chance to play a character that not a lot of people get to play. And it's a bit of a love story, but not how you think. On John Wick, I learned a lot on how to bend the storytelling a little. Another kind of myth. So it's one of them situations where it does, maybe that is what he's doing. I know initially it was supposed to be a different story, but maybe things have changed behind the scenes. Maybe they are going to do that. Not a big fan of that kind of thing. I don't think there's any reason to reboot the original movies in any way, shape, or form. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. But here he goes. He says, my selling point to Henry Cavill was, look, you've got this guy that's been alive for over 500 years. He's the last person in the world that wanted to be in this situation. So you get to cover quite a broad spread of character arc there. And you also get to experience someone that's trained for over 500 years and sort of played with many types of martial arts. So it's going to be one of them situations where you're going to have that guy that's kind of like a jack of all trades, right? He's really good at all this stuff. He can take down people. He can probably, if he has to, he can probably play with guns very well, but he's also trained in a bunch of different martial arts. Because, I mean, essentially look at it like this way. 400 years of his life, guns weren't really a thing, right? You know, I mean, again, you can argue 1800s, 1700s, like that kind of era time frame, but like for the majority of his life, guns weren't really a thing. So you go travel the world, you go and study a whole bunch of other things. So we'll see what happens with that. If it does end up being a reboot, well, it's Henry Cavill. I'm not going to complain. He's going to do a great job. We'll see what happens. If they completely and totally screw it up, though, you guys know me. I'm going to roast it. If you don't know me and you're new around here, make sure you smash that subscribe button. But I will roast it. I will absolutely roast it. It doesn't matter how much I love these guys. It doesn't matter how much I love Henry Cavill. If this is bad, I promise you, I will let you know. And if we hear any kind of sniffings or inklings about it being bad, I promise you, I will let you know. Because I want this to be good. But if it's not, well, you know how it goes. We will roast them. I wasn't given the nickname Angry Jesse for no reason. Via IMDb, 3 writers are listed as having tackled the script. We have Ryan J. Condal, who is actually the showrunner of House of the Dragons. That's nothing but good stuff there. Who's also known for Colony. Haven't seen that. Dwayne Johnson's Rampage. I did enjoy that movie. And Hercules. Didn't see that one. Also listed is Michael Finch, who wrote John Wick 4 for Salisky. So there you go. Working with the same kind of group, working with people you know, always a good thing. And who is said to be the main writer. Although I did know some people that didn't like John Wick 4. I know a lot of people did, but I do know at least one. Shout out to Brahma Bull. I know he doesn't watch my videos, but I know Brahma Bull didn't like John Wick 4. So shout out to Brahma Bull for being the detractor among all of the rest of the group. Who says we're a group thinking an echo chamber, right? And who's said to be the main writer. Carrie Williamson is also listed as the writer, who is known for an episode of Resident Evil TV series. The Netflix one? Oh, dear God. Hey, man, sometimes you just got to take a job. What Happened to Monday and Alex Cross. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. On the production side of the things, names that stand out include Neil H. Moritz as a producer who's produced a slew of projects, including The Boys, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, there you go, Preacher, and the Fast and Furious movies. So it looks like we've definitely got a very action-packed and action-heavy kind of focus out there, and I like that. Louis Rochner is also listed as a producer, is known for Borderlands, Hunger Games, and who co-executive produced John Wick 4. Well, see, there you go. There you go. And Highlander creator Gregory Whedon is also listed as producing. And I like that, even if he's just as a producer role. And a lot of time you just get a producer role is because you're credit for something. Like Hollywood hands out producer roles like nobody's business. Most of the time you guys don't actually ever show up and do anything. But I love that at least he's involved in the project. Even if it's a name only, Gregory Whedon is involved in the project. And that's a very good thing. It's always good that you know that the creator of the original content is actively involved in anything new that they're doing from the franchise. We saw how well it's worked out for One Piece with Netflix. Hopefully it ends up working out very well for this as well. So we'll have to see what happens. The concept artist also listed might give us hints at the tone of Highlander reboot. They've done concept art for movies such as Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxies, Transformers, Inception, Total Recall, Free Guy, Mulan, and lots more. So, I mean, honestly, boys and girls, with this update, plus all of the people involved in this that we know is involved with the project, I mean, this sounds like nothing but good things. It sounds like they've got a hell of a team together. You've got Henry Cavill starring in the role. You've got a bunch of people from the John Wick stuff, a bunch of people from House of the Dragon. You got people from House of the Dragon. You got people from all this other good stuff going on out there. And, like, honestly, it's one of them situations where I think it's fair to be cautiously optimistic about that one. I really do think after the success we've seen with the John Wick movies and with Henry Cavill involved in it, I think it's something that we could end up seeing really, really well done. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to wait and see. So I honestly do think this thing could end up coming out in 2026. At the latest, it'll probably be 2027 if they're going to start filming in September. And I, for one, am super excited about this. I cannot wait to see what kind of set leaks we get out there. I cannot wait to see our first look as Henry Cavill and how the look they're going to go with for him for a Highlander and all of that other kind of stuff. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's so nice to bring you something that I am at least optimistic about. This one I'm not just cautiously optimistic about. This one I am legitimately optimistic about. Between the people involved, all behind the scenes, and the star itself, it's one of them situations where you could not have asked if you wanted to continue on the Highlander story, if you wanted to breathe new life into a franchise that has been floundering for a very long time, then I think this is the perfect team behind it to do that. And I, for one, boys and girls, cannot wait to see if Henry Cavill ends up being the only one left at the end of the day, because you know how it is, boys and girls, with the Immortals in the Highlander universe, there can be only one. So at the end of the day, we'll find out whether or not Chad and the rest of the crew behind this can pull it off, because at the end of the day, fans only want good stories and proper representation of the IPs we have known and loved. And at the end of the day, fans decide whether or not something succeeds or fails. So Chad and the rest of the crew out there behind this production, do the smart thing and make the fans happy. Because at the end of the day, you will get exactly what you deserve.